Okay, so that was a tune called Mo Better Blues. It's from the film called Mo Better Blues, and it's a great little fragment of a tune, I suppose. It's a cool tune, like a little ditty, if you like. But I've used it as an example of gospel music, so something that sounds kind of gospel, in the style of gospel. And gospel is, in my opinion, a mix of the sort of popular traditional sounds of hymns. It's obviously got a religious connotation, and mixing in elements of blues. So gospel is one of the only times that I play very sort of basic harmony. I try to throw other stuff in there as well, but there are moments when I'm just playing the triad, so playing in the key of F here. So I'm actually just playing a very, very bog standard F major triad, FAC, in root position. You can invert it as well, of course. So you could do ACF or CFA. But actually the power of triads really comes through, and really with gospel music you want it to sound a bit plainer than usual. So usual for me, I normally play jazz in voicings, so I want it to sound a bit plainer, just to be a lot more accessible, so people can kind of the idea of gospel music and hymns is that you can sing along to it even if you don't really know the tune, so it's really, really easy to hear. So triads are great for that. So I'm using a normal triad. I'm often going between chord 1 and chord 4. I've done this in another video. It's such a basic movement from 1 to 4 that you can do it almost as a sort of just to extend the sound of chord 1. So instead of holding chord 1 for a long time, I often put the chord 4 into that just to break it up a little bit. Okay, so I've gone from F major triad to B flat major triad in inversion, just because I don't want to jump, because it sounds a bit lame, and also it's more difficult. So I'm putting in chord 4 to break up the sound of chord 1, which could happen for a long time. In this particular example, I wasn't going to go into detail about this, but it's quite a cool little chord progression. So you've got chord 1, which I'm breaking up with chord 4, and then it goes to chord 4, and then there's this little rundown, which is essentially sort of dominant chords. So from B flat, A7, A flat 7, G minor 7. So I've got the root in the left hand here, and then the 3rd and the 7th. You could put the 5th in as well if you wanted. Then it swaps to being G7, so with the major 3rd. And then this is one thing that I would definitely add into pretty much all gospel pieces. The C chord, the dominant, the proper dominant of the whole piece, the C7, instead of playing it as a normal C7 chord, I'm actually playing it as a C suspended chord. And there's an easy way of thinking about this. I'll come on to that in just a second. Let me just explain what a suspended chord is once again. So here is a normal C7 chord. Instead of having the 3rd, the suspension means that the 3rd has been left out. It's actually been replaced. In some cases you can have a sus2, where instead of the 3rd you've got the 2nd. In other cases you can have sus4, so that's the 4th instead of the 3rd. Or in jazz often you'll find that you've got both, so the sus2 and the sus4, plus a lot of the time you get the 7th in there as well. So you end up with a chord which is that, which is a bit sort of full. There's an easy way to break that up, and it's just playing a triad a tone below. So from C, instead of playing that, you're going to play B flat over C. That gives you your 7th, your sus2, and your sus4. So I've just inverted that, which sounds really nice. So I use suspended chords on the official, if you like, chord 5, the official dominant. So that sequence again, I've got F, up to chord 4 and back again, then up to chord 4, B flat, this rundown of dominants, down to a -7, G -7. This then swaps to G7, and then I've got C7 suspended, and then back to F. And then right on the end I just put that C7 suspended again. Okay, so a little simple gospel thing for you to try out there. There are many, many gospel tunes that you could try, but the elements of them, I think, are hymn-like harmony, so very, very simple harmony, chords 1, 4, maybe 3, 5. You've also got triads, so you're not trying to extend it with major sevenths or even dominants are sort of less common, I suppose. And also on chord 5, it's very often suspended. So you get that nice sort of suspension, and then it goes back to your resolution. And it pretty much always resolves, because that's the whole point of gospel, is that it has some resolution and it's easy to hear. So have fun with that. Any questions, comments, leave them below.